whole month of April, as all of us gathered here, the media, the bankers, insurance, the brokers, and our students, UPSC involved, other all go out, try and win those financial independence. And I pray, oh God, that you send us out after today, living financial waters to both a local, global test. We pray that you give wisdom to the resource people so that they will bring issues up in such a way that impact all the people. Father, we pray that you grant us the vision and dream, even as we deliberate here, grant us the mission spirit of Abraham, grant us the guile, grant us the tenacity of David, grant us the wisdom of Daniel, and very important, Father, grant us the well-taken promise, grant us the tenacity. Thank you, give you all the glory. We know that at the end of more
I think we can clap for him. That is me, the hand.
thank you so much for going that far. So let me just a way of powered by let's we also have access to potential light, PPE, Pro Paylight Bank, Ghana Tech Foundation, Britain Investments, Blisbane Events, ASA Link. Thank you very much for our partners and our sponsors. Box on, and if you want to have the opening address, it's very important. So our opening address, I want to invite the Chief Executive Officer, Mr.
mentioned, responded.
I also want to notify or tell notice that we will have one of them have financial education because before I call on the next person, I remember this very well. In 2017 when the were revoked, be a guest on panic withdrawal. When immediately I got now somebody, the guy checked just met me. Now I was must all how to call on the next person as we have the keynote address financial literacy campaign 2023. Center for Financial Literacy Education Africa. Mr. Peter Obias.
Hello. I hope you are doing great. Thank you very much for this.
Glad Mr. Chairman, distinguished speakers, men and women from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, a great day to gather here financial literacy month campaign 2023. In 2018, I published a book titled Journey to Financial Freedom. And in that book, I laid emphasis on the fact that a society of financially aware and financially literate individuals is necessary to survive the global financial crisis and ensure stable economic growth. Fast forward in 2020, when COVID hit, a lot of us were exposed for two reasons. One, because we wasn't financially aware and financially literate. Two, because we had no financial plan for the future. This is one of the driving forces why we are gathered here today. To have conversation on how best we can shape our financial are working to significantly improve financial awareness and financial literacy. And so, in every year, we have two campaign months. We do financial literacy month in April, and we do estate and growth planning awareness month in October. We are now in the third year since the movement was launched in March 2021. It is estimated that we have touched over 2 million Ghanaians with a goal of touching 10 million Ghanaians by 2025 and the entire population by 2030.
How are we doing this? So during the Financial Literacy Month campaign, we do media outreaches. So we go on various media houses to talk about financial literacy. TV, radio, newspapers, web portals to create awareness and educate the general population on how best they can get and keep their financial house in order. We also do market outreaches. So we have been to 4 marketplaces in Ghana since the movement was launched. We were in Medina Market in 2021. We were there again in October 2021. We went to Takoradi Market and other marketplaces. Beneficiaries of this financial education and financial literacy motivation cut across case, teens, young professionals, business men and women, market women and men, and entrepreneurs. Ghana has a population of near 33 million, and in 2020, the World Bank came out with a report that says about 66% of Ghanaians are unemployed, and our unemployment rate was near 4.6%. This was leaving about 4 million Ghanaians, that is 13% of the entire population, so poor they cannot afford 3 meals a day. And these people were struggling to survive on living on the global poverty line, that is 1.9 USD. They were striving to survive on this amount. If you convert it, it's around 5 Ghana cedis a day. We are also experiencing increasing in debt. We are not taught at home or in schools about the essential principles of personal financial management. I went to school from crèche to tertiary, and I learned nothing about personal finance. So it is important for us to create awareness and educate people to make the right financial decisions. So this was the reason why the Center for Financial Literacy Education Africa and all our strategic partners, including the Chartered Institute of Bankers Ghana, the Ghana Association of Banks, Access Pension, Prudential Life Insurance Ghana, Pali Global, ProPatra, and all our strategic partners, we began uniting with other associations and individuals to share this important message 2 times in a year. And we created the Improving Financial Awareness and Financial Literacy Movement. And so we are on a mission. We carry a mandate. And we believe that with collaboration with stakeholders like the Ministry of Finance, Bank of Ghana, Security and Exchange Commission, and all other concerned organizations and individuals, we can change the financial habits of all Ghanaians, and we can help make a huge difference for Ghana. We will have a common voice, a voice that will transform the socio-economic well-being of all Ghanaians, a voice that will improve the standard of living of that farmer in a rural area who is working hard but has nothing to show for, a voice that will improve the standard of living of all workers and pensioners, a voice that will prepare young people and help them transition in life, a voice that will help eradicate poverty and create a decent livelihood for all Ghanaians. This is our call to action. We believe that with collaboration, creativity, and a common voice, we can end financial illiteracy in Ghana and create prosperity for all Ghanaians. On this note, I'm inviting everyone, all of us, to come on board and help make financial literacy a household skill in Ghana. In your homes, in your schools, in your churches, at your marketplaces, wherever you find yourself, make sure you are sharing the essential principles to personal financial management. We believe sharing this essential principle will change our world and the world around us forever. Thank you very much for for showing up today, and let's help make Ghana a great nation. Financial literacy is a tool we can use to defeat all the challenges that we are going through. And so, once again, I want to welcome you, and let's enjoy the sections that will take place. We have panel discussions. We will take a keynote speech. And the month of April is Financial Literacy Month. We want all of you to be volunteers. Share a knowledge with someone. Impart something into someone. If you are the only rich person in your family, you will suffer a lot. Because if something happens, they will all come to you. But if you help create a lot of successful and economic stable individuals in your family, if something happens to them, they will know how they can handle it. So don't be the only hero in your family. Help create heroes by championing improving financial awareness and financial literacy. Thank you very much.
You know me, I'll say clap again. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Peter. That was a very powerful one. I mean, the last time I chanced upon that statistics that said that the world needs to create 600 million jobs to be able to get closer in filling the gap of unemployment worldwide. I said, how? By 2030. We are already in 2023. The third month is even gone. How do we do that? 600 million jobs must be created for us to get anywhere closer in closing the gap of unemployment. In fact, in the whole world, the greatest problem we have in the world, number one, is sin. Number two is unemployment. So if you would have to close that gap, then definitely if you have no knowledge about finances, we are in trouble. That is why we all must put ourselves in this. Become volunteers so that you know what? You can share the link. Share the link. You must share the link. Financial literacy education. Very, very, very important. So I told you we have a panel discussion. And I mean, in the last few months, is it months or let's say a year, we all of us have been, I would say, if you are not complaining, you are talking. So that talk is complaint. Because we have been embraced by some, unpleasant situations. Over 50% inflation. And I know very well, statistically, that close to 80% live on less than $6 US dollars. Let me emphasize, US dollars. Close to 80% live on less than what? $6 US dollars a day. I mean, this is, it's very serious. And we have also been, witnesses, or we are still in it. This unpleasant war. A certain man rises up or wakes up one day and decides that, oh, let me park some machines near a certain border called Ukraine. And when he was asked, what are you doing? Oh, I'm only parking machines. The next time we heard, he's entered Ukraine and he's fighting. And somebody said, are his brains working? I said, well, maybe the wires have turned the other way. And so we feel the effect worldwide. And all of us are feeling it and we are going through. It is a challenge. A country that has more than 30 million in terms of population, that is Ghana. You and I must do something. We have to push for something. Financial literacy. We can't do away with that. So ladies and gentlemen, this morning, I communicate development as a development communications person. I communicate development. And I believe that ultimately when it comes to development, it will move on the wheels of funds. And we talk about funds, you must be financially what? Literate. So I connect the investment analysis with all the things with finances. And I communicate development in that order. What are you also doing? This is why we are here this morning. And we want to have our discussions this morning. And I tell you what, we are blessed with a very powerful lineup for those who are going to help us to do our discussions. You may note this question down and reflect on it. I just want to ask. You may note it down and reflect on it. Do we have a lack of financial awareness along with the financial literacy epidemic in Ghana? Do you believe that? And in Africa? If you do, what do you think we have to do about it? Okay, so I want to call on our panelists for our discussion today. And the first on the list is the Chief Executive Officer himself, the Oga of the Chartered Institute of Bankers, Mr. Robert Jato. Is our first on the panelists. We have a very powerful woman who is a partner in accounting and advisory services at KPMG, Madam Joycelyn Coleman. She's not here. Again, we have a banking executive and financial coach who is also a branch manager of the National Investment Bank, TEMA. Madam, is it Ramat Waja? Are you here? Oh, okay. Oh, let's clap for her. She's a powerful woman. We also have, the Chief Economics Officer and Head of Financial Markets and Innovation Unit, the Financial Sector Division of the Ministry of Finance, Mr. Benjamin Tosaklu. I think I saw him earlier, isn't it? The man from the Ministry of Finance. He's here. Oh, please do it better for him. So my co-moderator will be the Executive Director of Center for Financial Literacy Education, Mr. Peter Kudwa-Asare-Nyakon. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do a powerful one for them. I can stand here, isn't it? Or I can, okay, all right. So they'll have the chairs at the top, right? So once again, big ups to Ghana Association of Banks, Rethink Investments, Blisburn Events, Asalink Media, Ghana Think Foundation, KPMG, Pro Patria, Pali Global, Access Pensions, Prudential Life, the Financial Awareness Association of the University of Ghana Business School, Center for Financial Literacy Education Africa, Financial Awareness Foundation, and our landlord or landlady, the Chartered Institute of Bankers. Oh, let's do a very powerful one also for them. Do we take this off? Okay. Are we set? Thank you very much. One of the joys when it comes to this is when you are the host. It means you can throw any question at them, isn't it? But you are one of the panelists. I tell you, you will research the whole night because you don't want to come and speak chaff. Sometimes when I sit 2 a.m., 1 a.m. and I'm researching to write my column in BNFT, my wife would be like, won't you sleep? I say, hey, when they read on future of banking, when they read on sustainability corner, they enjoy. And I get so many calls. People tell me that, this is good. Wow, keep it up. That's the joy. You know, so when you are sitting in this chair, you know that you can throw all the questions at them, and it's a great joy. So we'll begin to welcome once again. Thank you so much. So, a lady and gentlemen, I'll begin with our lady, because that is tradition, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, when we are sharing biscuits and toffees, they take first. So when it comes to questions, they will also answer first. Am I on the same page with you? Sure. Thank you so much. So the question is, how does financial education and its application prepare individuals for a better life?
Thank you very much. So finance basically is how you manage money. So when you add education, it means that you are building knowledge and skills on how to effectively manage your money. Okay, sure. So effective financial education goes a long way to help people, right? So if you know you have enough knowledge on how to effectively manage your money, it goes a long way to help, right? If I have to ask a lot of people here, you know, most of the times we show up, it can happen to me myself. If I have to ask, how well have we financially prepared? I'm sure most of us cannot say much, right? The basic thing normally I put across to people is, even as parents, how well do we prepare the future for our children? These are all questions. So if we don't have answers to it, then it means that then we need to champion and move the course of financial literacy or education. Now, most of us are working, going and coming, but in 10 years, 20 years, the style we had, the lifestyle we had, is different from when we are out of work. What happened? What were the retirement plans? We are also working, taking our kids to school, right? They finish school, and we all sing along and say there are no jobs, others, and all. But I tell myself, if there are no jobs and your children have to do something, what do? Are we able to come out with a kind of a seed money to give to your child that, hey, can you have this and start something with? If that is not in place, then it means that all of us need financial education. So financial education is how effectively you manage your money. Then you ask me, how do you manage the money? So you have your funds. Do I put it in my account? So if I'm having 10,000 cedis and I live in my account for 5 years, what happens? So we need to educate people that if you are having that money in your account, then you need to think about investment, okay? And how do you invest? There are diverse ways, okay? You could buy some treasury, but you could... I don't want to go deep, so that someone will ask me, I mean, with what is happening, why are you advising me there? But you can also invest in assets. I don't think that lands depreciate, okay, provided you do your checks and everything very well. I'm sure you could go into lands and, you know, other things as well. So basically, with what I've said, I think you can agree with me that all of us need financial education.
Oh, thank you. I mean, 2 weeks ago when I was speaking at the program and I was telling them about treasury bills, and somebody, but with all the things that you are telling us, I said, well, you can invest in assets. One of them is land. Is there land gas will come to me. And I said, you know, so when you tell people about it, they will still probe and ask questions because of issues and circumstances that comes. You know,
the education exactly also goes this way. Like, for instance, the T-bill we are saying, if you go in for investment, you need to have enough knowledge on that investment you are going for. There are conditions. You ask them. You are getting it. So there are certain investments when you make, and you need to draw down your money ahead of time. You lose interest. So don't just go and say, I'm investing. Be able to ask that what comes with it. What if I want to stop? Is this something I can get my money anytime? Then also you check your risk appetite. Because if I'm doing it for 6 months, and in case something happens along the line, am I okay to take it? If it's not okay for you, then it means that you have to look at other avenues you can invest your money.
Thank you so much, Madam Waja. Mr. Klu, would you want to add something to that?
Yeah. Talking about finance, personal finance, and how best you can help an individual. It also prepared us in that in the future, the future lies in our own hands. The previous speakers talk about they were working for. Today, they are on their own or they are at a certain level. So basically, you prepare yourself financially in that tomorrow when there is a calamity or something like COVID or any other thing, you will be able to withstand so that you can be able to live your life normally. Those of you students, you know about the life theory. So there are times you make more money, there are times you make money, but you have to smoothen yourself. So personal financial planning will allow you to smoothen your life.
Wow. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. You want to add your voice?
Thank you. Good morning. I think yes, the morning. So good morning to you all. So I'll use some statistics, and then we can do some comparison to see. So I was looking at some data, and the data shows that for countries that are doing well or the advanced economies, financial literacy is very high. And then for countries that are not doing well, like us, developing nations, financial literacy is very low. So like in Africa, for instance, Ghana, when I checked, I think it was like 32% or so. So what does that tell us? It tells us that those who are taking financial education serious, they are, I would say they are more or less like eradicating poverty. The quality of life of their people are becoming better. Why? Because the people are informed, or the people are aware, and they are able to make informed financial decisions. Okay, so for me, financial education and how it helps the people is basically the well-being of people are improved when they are financially educated, of they are financial literate. The quality of decisions that they make. We have seen a lot of things happen in our nation, a lot of schemes that have come up, and because people are not financially aware, they jump on some of these schemes, and what then happens? Eventually we come crying on government. But if people are aware, they would know that no, these are not schemes that one must subscribe to, because you know that it is not possible to be making some crazy returns. Okay, so for me, financial education helps people to become financially aware and make informed financial decisions. Two, the quality of life. We say that Sikaya Brantie, right? So, I mean, in the Akan language, Sikaya Brantie, what do we mean when we say Sikaya Brantie? It means that, with me, Ebola life kakra. You understand? So, for those who are financially aware, if I pick it literally, then they are able to live comfortably because they've taken some steps, they have prepared. And so, whilst people are crying, yes, difficult times will always be there. It is easy for such individuals to navigate the difficult path. So I'll just end it here, and then my other panelists can continue.
All right, so let me just add my voice to what others have said. And I like the point Randolph made in terms of advanced economies, financial literacy. In 2006 through to 2007 and even 9, I used to go to secondary schools in Scotland to teach financial literacy. And they recognized that the crisis that we're facing at the time, people needed a certain understanding and knowledge. Right? So when I was relocating to Ghana, I went to the institute and collected all their financial literacy materials. So when I came back, I started going to secondary schools and teaching. Truth is that there is a correlation. That's the first point. The second point is, I think financial literacy, financial education is really risk management. It's managing a certain risk. The risk is that one day you will not have the income you have. There will always be a rainy day. How prepared are we? And people go on retirement and they die early, not because death is looking for them. It's just because the stress of life, because we didn't plan ahead. So it's really managing risk. And talking about that, a critical component of that is insurance. People say, insurance penetration in Ghana is low. I don't believe in insurance. If I take life insurance, it means that I'm going to die or somebody will kill me. Research shows that, and I may be wrong if the source of this research is wrong, that a certain number of Americans become rich purely because of life insurance. Because you know for sure there are two things that are certain in life. One day you were born, one day you will die. That's the reality. The second thing is that if you work, you pay taxes. That's also certain. Point though is that if death is certain, then why not plan for it in a way that when you are gone, you actually bequeath to your, people behind a certain sum of money so they can carry on living. So that's really managing a certain risk. So for me, if we talk about life insurance, I call it not life. It's actually love insurance. It's if you love yourself, if you love the people you really care about, if you love the home where you live, if you love the colleagues you work with, then you have to protect them. And as we talk about financial literacy and preparing for the future, these are key components. I talked about the knowledge, which is the awareness, but the skills around budgeting, the skills around borrowing, because we have a habit of borrowing and not paying. That's also lack of financial literacy. That's why NPLs are high. That's why banks wouldn't lend to you as a business owner. That also needs to be addressed because you're affecting your credit risk. And the next person may not get a loan because of your behavior. That's lack of financial literacy. So we can actually talk about this extensively, and I'm sure other questions will help us address them. Thanks.
Thank you. Oh, let's do that for them.
Peter.
Great. Hello. Great. So that was insightful comment from our panelists. Can we give it up to them again? Yes. So yes, going to the next question. I will start from Mr. Jato. So how should we go about providing financial education in normal times? When the economy is stabilized, when things are going well, how should we provide financial education? And then you can also touch on when we are in difficult times, like Russia-Ukraine war, COVID-19, hyperinflation. How should we go about providing financial education?
Excellent. For me, financial literacy and financial education starts from the quote I gave earlier on, which is Warren Buffett said he bought stocks or shares when he was at age what? 11. He bought a farm, as in he started a business when he was age 14. And yet he has one regret, that he started too late. So how should we go about? I don't think it's even a function of time or a function of when things are going well and when things are not going well. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. And that mindset is that at the very basic level, right from our children, when we go to church, when we give offerings, when they go to school, telling them what to keep and what to save. And I read a book many years ago. The title of the book was The Richest Man in Babylon. Now, I chanced upon the book. I just chanced upon it. And it was my silly mindset at the time. It was my last day in the university. I decided that I'm going to buy some books and keep on my shelf to demonstrate to my people, my family, that I'm educated. So I went to the school library and, in fact, the bookshop, and I saw, I think I had a certain amount of money. I could buy at least 5 African writers. My aim was to get Things Fall Apart. Get Ngugi wa Thiong'o, No Longer Artist, those books. And I really wanted to keep them so that it shows that I'm educated. When I got to the shop, I picked those books. And then I got to a corner and I saw a small, tiny book. Now, the 5 books I was holding was equal to the amount of this tiny book. I said, what's the meaning of this? And this tiny book was like 20,000. So I asked myself, if this is worth 5 of this, there must be something in this. So I dropped all the other 5. Sadly, I did. And I bought this one book. And the title of the book is The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clarkson. And that book, when I took it, I never read any book from beginning to end. But this book, I read it that same day, and I finished that same day. Of course, it was a tiny book. One of the things I learned, it said that we all work, right? We work. And we are paid when we work. Who pays you? Your employer. But the question in that book was, do you also pay yourself? And I think that's a mindset thing. Do you pay yourself? And if you are paying yourself, it's not even when you just work, but anything that comes to you, do you reserve a portion of that? And in that book, I also learned that every money you get is a slave to work for you. Because you actually slave to get that money, and that money must also slave harder. And the interest, which is the child of that money, must work even harder. So I go back to the point that this is a mindset. And it's a principle. So if you do that consistently, whether normal times or abnormal times, you should be saving for the future. You should be planning for the future. You should be managing your risk. And I think that's very fundamental. It's not a function of time. It should be a habit. And a habit is something you do over and over again. It's said that God has given all of us, the same, opportunity, if you like, in terms of time, actually. 24 hours we all have in a day. Some actually optimize that. And how you optimize your time is also part of financial literacy. Really, because what we are doing really is selling our skills and selling our time. And as we do that, remember that one day you will not be able to do that. And planning ahead, thinking into the future, doing some back from the future thinking is a critical part for all of us at the individual level, organizational level, and certainly national level, because it's only in this country that when we borrow and we are successful at borrowing, we have kinky parties. And that shouldn't be, because what are we borrowing? And what we are borrowing, what are we using it for? Because borrowing is good, but what we use it for is important, because somehow we'll have to pay for it. And if we don't, at some point we'll run into situations that we don't want to get into. And I think that's very, very important. Responsible borrowing, responsible saving, responsible planning, budgeting, everything comes together. Not just in abnormal times, normal times, and all the time, every time. Thanks.
Great, great. Can we give it up to him? Yeah, so providing financial education is not a matter of time. It's a mindset, and you have to build a habit for it. So I'll go to Mr. Arno Rindolph. Arno, coming from the accounting and advisory department of KPMG, I know you work with a lot of businesses. And though our conversation is focused on individuals, I believe individuals run businesses. So how should businesses provide financial education in normal times and in good times, in difficult times?
All right, thank you, Peter. So I think I will go or I will build on what Robert said about the mindset. So I don't think we have to separate normal times from, say, normal times and abnormal times. It has to be a mindset. So if that is the way we do things, then it doesn't matter. You do it consistently. And one needs that consistency. Just like the Bible said, "Thou sluggard, go to the ant, consider its ways, and be wise." See, there is something that the ant does what? Consistently. So we can't start and stop. It has to be a culture. All right? And so that culture needs to be built. And I want to look at it from a national point of view and then bring it down. So if you look at the OECD countries, all right, the OECD has a national financial education strategy document, right, which means that countries that belong to the OECD, they see how important financial education is. So their countries are actually developing strategies that are evaluated from time to time to ensure that this culture or this mindset is built into their society. And that is where we need to get to as a nation, right? Your movement is doing, you are helping. You indicated in your speech that so far you've touched about 2 million lives, but there is still a lot of lives to be touched, all right? So even from the national angle as well, do we see financial illiteracy as a pandemic? Do we see that? If we see that, our approach will be different. All right? And because financial illiteracy and its consequences on a nation is dire. So I think nationally, we need to begin to think about it, all right, and see how we can address it collectively. It is not just a few organizations' responsibility. If we see it like that, just like the OECD countries are seeing it, the approach will be different, and I think we can make impact immediately. So that's something that we need to look at. So when we bring it back to organizations, I think that organizations should see it as part of the well-being of their members, right? So we usually look at health when we are talking about well-being and balance and the rest, but financial well-being should be prioritized. So organizations can maybe organize programs like this, not just even for their own members, but even for people in the society or the communities that they belong to. So they need to look at it from that point of view as well. If you look at us, okay, we go to school to acquire knowledge, to do well in the various things that we do, but who is educating us on how to manage the financial resources that come to us? The Bible says that what shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? If I flip it, what shall it profit us? Or what profit will we get if we acquire all the knowledge to do well and acquire a lot of financial resources but mismanage it? So I think that an organization must see it as part of the core of what they do. Okay, so that people who are passing through those organizations, even when they leave, they would have prepared better because of the kind of education they are giving. There are a lot of organizations now have a lot of CPDs or other educational resources that they take their people through. But, I mean, are they prioritizing financial education for their members? This should be seen as a human rights matter, because they will leave and go. I'm not sure if you are here and you are an employer, you would be happy to see someone who have been through an organization leave and struggling down the line. So organizations need to see it as a human rights matter and do everything in their ability or in their capacity to equip their members, not just their members, but also even the people that are in the as part of like their corporate social responsibility. Thank you.
Great. Can we clap for him? That was insightful. So he said we should have a national strategy for providing financial education, and organizations should also prioritize it. And one thing as the movement, one thing we are doing is we are trying to work with organizations to create financial literacy workshops for the employees, which will come as an employee benefit package. So as part of giving some benefit to your employees, we want to come in and work with you to provide personal financial management workshops for your employees. So I will move to Madam Ramat. Coming from the banking sector, I remember in 2015, the first day I walked into your office, I came with a proposal after working in sending proposals to about 30 banks in Accra, and they rejecting my proposal. I came to your office and you said, Peter, we can do this. So I know you are passionate about financial education. So how should we go about providing financial education in normal times and in abnormal times?
All right, Peter, thanks. Hello. So before coming to the bank where I'm coming from, I wanted to mention that we could it could be taught early in schools as well. Okay, we can see that now the curriculum is thinking about like sexual education for the kids at early ages. I think that we should also think about financial literacy for the children also at early ages, so that by the time they grow, enough knowledge is built there. We can naturally see that when you are young, you already have that kind of financial lifestyle. You want to save. So most kids are doing susu. But it ends there. I think most of the kids don't know what they will use the money for. But most of the times you are saving so that they could buy some fried rice or something. So I'm sure if they are taught early, they will know how to effectively use such monies. All right. Then also, if we could have enough campaigns like what my colleague said. So Peter, you are doing that already. I saw that you had reached out to a lot of people, especially the market women. So that it's not like the education is only for the literate. So if we could have enough bodies, people coming together, enough concept about championing the campaign of financial literacy, it will help. Now, the education also, what about the uneducated? Somebody will ask. I think that the uneducated can also learn through our lifestyle. So you have gone to school, you have been educated on how to effectively manage your money and grow it as well. Your lifestyle will also help someone who has not been there too. So you don't learn it and say that, oh, I don't know tomorrow, so I have this, let me spend all today. What if tomorrow comes and you are still there? Okay, so then I come back to the institutions like the banks, insurance. I'm saying that the institutions should help and make what they offer attractive and also push a lot of this advisory, because you can have a market woman, you have diverse of people coming from different fields to save, to invest or buy an insurance product. So if you have enough advisory services, they can use the opportunity to educate the people. Because if you are working in a bank and you have a customer you are managing, the customers, turnover, net worth, or the money the person brings, you could advise. Some people don't know, and they might just leave it in their savings account. So the advisory is okay. I'm also saying that we should also have attractive charges and packages, because people are saying they work hard for their money. So if I'm bringing it and you are taking a lot of it, it will deter people, from coming to such institutions to save. You talked about preparing in terms of hard times. So I was saying that in terms of hard times, if the financial education was effective, then people will know how to save, how to prepare for retirement, how to budget. So in that hard time, you are already prepared. In that hard time, you are already prepared. And also in terms of debt, when is in hard times, I will encourage that institutions or bodies that are responsible, we look at what is pertaining to the market at that time. So we know that these are hard times. If it's hard time for business people, then they might not be able to meet agreements they had gone into it for you already. Probably there could be some restructuring. You could invite them for further discussions. So you don't just wake up one day and the person has started to default. Then one of my colleagues also mentioned about employees or companies that employ people. I think that they should have plans for their employees, okay, especially in terms of retirement. And it's also dependent on us. So if you are working at a place 20 years over and you see that you will come home and you have nothing, then you should question yourself why you should still be there. So I think these are some of the few things that could help.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'll go to the next question and I'll start with Mr. Benjamin. So how do we improve our economic situation so we can all prosper? So coming from the Ministry of Finance, how can we improve our economic situation so we can all prosper?
We are talking about financial literacy, talking about investment, we are talking about savings. Now, everybody here is encouraging us to save or to manage our money. When you save, what does the money do? Or when you invest, what happens to the money? All those funds are channeled into what we call the financial system, which governments, businesses, and individuals can also borrow and work with. The return on that money come back to government as taxes, come back to you as return, and all those one make the system grow and make the economy improve. So if you don't invest, then we have to look elsewhere to go and look for money. If you don't save, our companies will not get money to grow and employ you. If you don't invest, personally you may have a business idea, but there's no way you can develop it. So definitely we all grow the economy by taking financial literacy seriously and applying it. We don't only learn it and keep it. We have to apply it.
Great, great. So I'll move to Mr. Jato to speak on how we can improve the economic situation so everyone can prosper.
I hope you're not making me the finance minister. So how we can improve the economy so that everyone would prosper. Okay. I wish I had some good answers. But I think that when we think about a country actually starts with individuals. And it starts at the family level. If we can improve our lot at family levels, I'm sure collectively we can improve at the national level, organizational level, and national level, right? But you're also conscious of the fact that today, and I speak with quite a number of people, today people are saying, I've done what I can do at the family level. I've saved some money. Now I can't have access to the money, right? So how do we improve? That's where the macro becomes very important. And I know that we are going through some very tough times as a country at this particular minute. I do sincerely hope that we are documenting the lessons. And I see John here who is in the center of it. We are documenting the lessons so that we can actually use that to do more financial education and financial literacy. But it also means that we need to be able to improve our macroeconomy. We need to bite the bullet now. because I think for most of you, or all of us, we all saw fuel prices going up to 23 Ghana cedis per liter for diesel. And then the exchange rate, I was actually going to buy something. The guy quoted 18 cedis. 18 cedis to the dollar. That's in other words, we needed to do something. And I don't think that there are easy choices, in my view. I don't actually envy a lot of people in position these days. But point is, we need to make some sacrifices. Those sacrifices may cut across different segments of the population. It's at individual level, certainly level. So today, for example, we have to improve our lot as an institute. Perhaps we should move gradually optimizing costs and looking at renewable energy. That way we can save the environment. That way we can actually improve efficiency. That's at organizational level. At the national level, I think we need to be more deliberate and intentional in our policy decisions, because that's also very key. I think it was one former Minister of Finance who was responding to a question that, do we eat macroeconomics? He said macroeconomics like inflation, like exchange rate. You say it doesn't impact you, but the truth is that it actually impacts us. So we should be concerned. And I think that as a nation, we really need to be deliberate, intentional about the policy decisions, but also the coherence of those policies and the national development narrative, more from coordination between the fiscal policy as well as monetary policy perspective. And I think that coordination is very key. The other thing that is very key is that to the extent that we continue to depend on others, we're never self-sufficient, then would always be in the center of the whirlwind. So as a country, if we have to develop, then certainly we need to look at what are the economic sectors that we need to take a bet on. And I think one of those economic sectors, if you think about it, is education. Right? I've worked across the sub-region. People are very impressed, surprisingly, very impressed about the English that we speak in Ghana. Walk to Nigeria and say, my English teacher was a Ghanaian. They are so proud of it. How can we actually leverage that? Build the best schools in this country. Get people from the sub-region to actually attend schools here. That brings us foreign exchange. That's how we stabilize something. What about our health system? Health tourism is big. I know a vice president of a country who came to Kolebu for medical attention. Again, if you travel across West Africa, you see how blessed we are as a nation. If we can capitalize on that, improve and have the best of health, services, that could also actually attract a lot of people. So again, we can talk about all the things that are wrong with Ghana, but there are things that are very good about Ghana. Think about it. If you look at the forest reserves that we have, someone has worked out, estimated that the carbon trading from forests in Ghana will give us $3 billion every year. $3 billion. How much are we getting from the IMF? About the same. Right? But every year we could get that. But drive through Oyarifa, and you see how we are clearing the forest and killing the trees and creating opportunity for soil erosion. Drive towards Kasua. When it rains, the road blocks. And because we have created, natural erosion pathways for the rain to wash and block our roads. If you drive and climb the Buri Mountains, sometimes the rocks fall and create bigger problems. And we watch and look on until something happens and someone goes to give a speech. That is not how we develop, and that's not how we get macroeconomic stability. So I think the opportunities are there. I end with a story. I'm told that Kofi Annan of blessed memory told this story. He said when God was creating the world, he created all the other parts of the world and left a big hole in the center of the world. All the resources that he had, leftovers, he was putting them in the hole. The angels who were working with God were wondering, what's God doing? One mastered the courage, approached God, and said, "Why are you putting so much resources here?" He said, "Wait until you see this is God's response. Wait until you see the people I'll put there." Apparently, that big hole in the center of the world is Africa. I'm sure Ghana is in the center of that center. What resources don't we have? We have gold, we have oil, we have every single resource. So the problem we have is, and I know people will say leadership. And when you point fingers at someone, think about the four that are pointing to you. So personal leadership, self-leadership, certainly peer leadership, organizational leadership, and national leadership. That's what we need for that development or macroeconomic stability to be achieved. Thank you.
Wow.
That was a powerful one. So my co-moderator will take over.
Okay, thank you so much. So I would invite some questions, about 2 questions from the audience. But before then, I want us to deal with this issue of sustainability. I think that by far it is, I wouldn't say the most common, but the most popular term that is used everywhere. The UN will use it, UNICEF, whatever. Everywhere you go to, because without sustainability, you can plan and do all these things, and it will still come back to, somebody asked the question one day at a program and said, why is it that Obuasi is what it is, Johannesburg is what it is, but both mine good? And I said, I'll give you the answer in the next world, because I have no answer to that. But clearly, issue of sustainability is so crucial. If you mine in a certain town and you decide to put up hospitals, put up schools and all these for people to benefit from, but you don't reclaim the land or do what we call afforestation or whatever, it is still cost 90. That is what people believe. So we say that sustainability simply is about meeting our needs without compromising what? On the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. What role does financial education play when it comes to sustainability? Maybe again, you ended, but I want to start with you, CEO. What role do you think financial education can play when it comes to sustainability?
Well, I suspect because I'm holding the mic, yeah, I'm an easy target.
Yes.
But let me disclose that I'm fortunate to be on a program with 11 of my colleagues at the institute at Oxford University right now. And yesterday we had a lecture. And that lecture was on transition risk and all the things you hear about ESG. And the truth is that sustainability, which is exactly what you define it, let's meet our development needs, but without compromising on the future generations. I think it starts with awareness. And I'm saying this because I got the knowledge from the course that I'm attending. Knowledge and education, it's key. So let's underline that. That's the education part, which is the knowledge and awareness. But we also know that financial systems, the ecosystem of financial players, play a critical role in that sustainability agenda. So for example, when you are creating a loan facility to support a business, that business is in a mining community, what's the risk metrics? How do you consider the environmental impact of that facility? And if you look at it at a portfolio level, what is that telling us? So the financial literacy, and that's where, again, as an institute, we are very passionate about, which is to say, how do we actually teach bankers or facilitate the knowledge transfer to bankers in a way that they understand the ESG, which is the environmental, social, and governance imperative for all of us, right? For me, that's very key. And that is education. But that touches on financial side of things. And it's not just creating loans. It may well be that in an environment called a bank, there are some behaviors that may not be ethical. And I'm drawing a line between ethics and sustainability. It may not be ethical. And that lack of ethics can actually create a reputational damage. And we've all been watching the news in the financial ecosystem. One person does one thing, it impacts all of us. So blowing the whistle is key. But that awareness at the bank level, at the financial, employee level is very key. Because if they are going to really create those facilities and do the right things, then they must have the knowledge, which is again where the institute comes in. So financial literacy, I think, is important, and the education side is even more crucial. But if you like, accelerating the effort across the whole financial system towards it is key. We need to balance that, though, with the reality, because someone would argue that developed countries have gone through the stages. They've polluted the environment, they have accelerated and developed, they are industrialized. Today, they are saying we should look at the environment. You need to balance that. And I think that's where the conversation around, if you want me to do the environmental side of things, then how much are you paying, which is really paying for the cost of you polluting the environment. And I think that's very important. That balance is key, because you need to balance the development needs of the people who are not able to meet their 3 square meal a day with your need to say, I want to breathe clean air. Although we are all going to die and we all need a clean air, somebody has already polluted and that person must pay for it. Finally, there's a guy called Socrates, and I'm sure most of you have, Socrates, Plato, a philosopher. He studied some market women in Greece many years ago. He observed that market women who cheated their customers, their businesses collapsed over time. Market women who treated their customers fairly, their businesses were sustainable. Now, that was not the biggest discovery. He said that the market women whose businesses collapsed, their children went hungry. So sustainability and unethical behavior actually means that your child, somebody's child, who could get a job in a bank or in this organization, because during your time you didn't manage it well, you actually collapse the bank, someone will not get a job. So we need to think about the social element, the environmental element, and the corporate governance and leadership element in sustainability.
Wow. Oh, let's do it for this. This is powerful. I mean, we are running out of time. I'll invite the question, all right, but just before then, Mr. KPMG, very powerful and prestigious institution like KPMG, as we speak about sustainability. I mean, you cannot be a chartered accountant, practice in a house or in a room, and forget about the environment. Allow people to, because the following day when you come to the office, the house will be gone. It will probably have been eroded away by erosion or by flooding, whatever. What role do you think financial education can play in sustainability? Maybe in a phrase. And then we'll throw the question to.
Okay, in a phrase, I would say in a phrase is difficult. In a phrase is difficult, but I think that, for you to be aware, you have to be informed, all right? And so financial education is what will inform people and draw the linkage to how financial education could be linked to social impact, all right? If you look at financial education, for instance, it has the potential to even help financial inclusion in the whole banking sector as well, because we have a lot of people who we need to get in. So, because limited time. So I would say the education brings the awareness, and when Robert was making his point, he started from that awareness. Awareness not at just the national level, at the individual level. How are you holding yourself even accountable for some of the sustainable things that we hear and we talk about? It is right in our homes, right? How are we even using water? How are we disposing of our waste? So all these things have, down the line impact on us as a nation. So it even should start from us as individuals. It should start from you and I. We need to do our part, okay, so that we help the whole ecosystem to thrive and that we don't put future generations at risk.
Yes, thank you so much. To be aware, you must be informed. One question from the audience. One question to the panelists. Yes, sir. I hope it's not a spiritual question. Right. Okay.
The phrase is spiritual financial evangelism. That is what we have to know. Yes, I just I am listening very attentively, and fantastic input from all the panelists. I mean, amazing. I've noted quite a bit. But there's a gap, and for CFLA as well, you know, and that gap seems to be current, because these are people who have done all the planning. You know, if you watched with a very heavy heart the pensioners who were picketing, and I know some of them. I mean, some of them are colleagues, so I could identify. I mean, they were literally organized. They knew where they were, they knew where they were coming from, they knew where they were going, and they did everything according to plan. And then there was a head. So I don't know whether there's a gap in our financial education, you know, that we need to add to what we have. That what happens when you've done all the planning, including contingency. In fact, part of those investments are contingency planning. No, but if something really chaotic comes, what do we do? Thank you.
Thank you for the spiritual.
First of all, I think it was a very sad situation to see our pensioners go through what they went through. It's really sad. But that's also a reflection of the actions and inactions of all of us collectively at, again, individual level, organizational level, and certainly at the national level, right? So it's something to pay attention to. Now, as an educational institution, Chartered Institute of Bankers, professional institute, I think we have a lot more responsibility to create a certain awareness. Because, you know, for those of you who went to university and you did financial instruments, we're taught that when it comes to financial instruments, government securities are risk-free. That whole capital asset pricing model has been disrupted. And that's why I said, and I'm happy John is here, we need to document for educational purposes some of the things that have happened and how that influences how we teach and how we learn and what kind of financial literacy we should have or what kind of financial education we should have. Basic principle. If government is paying you 34% interest rate, let's even say treasury bill rate, or giving you a bond of, you know, percentage in that region, first of all, it's saying to you that I can work and get tax revenue in a way that I can pay you. But we also know our tax to GDP ratio. We know it. We know that those of us sitting here, either we don't pay taxes, or we don't pay the full amount, or that we avoid it completely. And so that government is not going to get, it doesn't matter which government is in, the finance minister may not get that money. So he's saying to you, I'll give you 30-something%. You know that you're not going to pay your tax, so he's not going to. So who is deceiving whom? We are all living a life of deceit. And again, that's why it's important for us to, as a country, say what are the lessons here for us. Financial instruments will never be the same again. My view, I stand to be proven wrong, but we need to incorporate that in the learning. And like marriage, when you are going to marry, that's when you start planning and, you know, do some 2x4 counseling, you know. But we also know that marriage, the real journey is after the wedding, or in the same way. in the same way. Education. Education, when you graduate, in the university, in the US, they call it commencement ceremony. That's where actually you start life. And I think that as a country and as a people, financial literacy should be incorporated in our curriculum, but we need to take ownership individually to make the right decisions and learn about it, because we need it, and we really, really do. Otherwise, we'll come back to this same position a few years down the line. And some of you will think that it's somebody there who is a minister who hasn't. Those ministers, we go to church with them. They are our friends. You may even appoint me as a minister tomorrow, and I may do worse. Point is that we need to put ethics at the heart and center of what we do as a country. Otherwise, we are going nowhere to happen. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Oh, you can do better for them. Madam Ramat. Oh, okay. She just wants to add something small.
To add a quick thing, it was a good observation you have seen that there is a gap. So I said when the gap happened, we saw everybody running to one point, meaning that most people might have had their investment in one pool. So I think that part of the education, we need to champion diversification so that people know that it's not about just money investment. There is real estate, there is land, there are others. So if this doesn't work, and the risk appetite and the risk that comes with it, most of the investment you do too, they are advised. But as I said, the education, the advice doesn't go far. So most of them could give you documents. I actually chanced on one, and I read it. And I realized that when he did the investment, the receipts given to him, the conditions of the investment was clearly stated, and that at any point in time, there could be a fall on. But I'm not saying we should take people's money, right? So the diversification bit is what I was. So you don't put all your money in one basket. And quickly, just in 1 minute, I wanted to answer Peter's question. I put down some few points and never got to my point. All right, so you were talking about the economic something to improve. All right. So I was saying, as my colleague said, we need to, something about the government scheme. So I wanted to mention that, the trust of investors will need to be rebuilt is important, okay, so that people, because we are working on, it might take the banks off. If nobody wants to invest the money, not only the banks or any institution, and then also there could be flexible support or loans. I remember last year I went to US, I went to Best Buy. I wanted to buy a phone. I didn't have the time to ask more questions or information. So, but I just wanted to put something across. But they said that I cannot. The only way I could buy it is through a loan, and that was an iPhone. And most people there are having it. It's difficult to have it here because you need to have cash. So we need to have that kind of flexible system as well. Relief packages for businesses so that at least young ones will be interested in going into business. And I said if the government could also focus on support for farmers. I think when inflation started going high, the rate, we realized that Ministry of Agric had bought some food stuff from the market also, and they were cheaper and people were buying. I was saying that could we push more of such agendas so people in the marketplaces could reduce their. But we have all that. What if the government doesn't come in quickly? It now comes back to you, and as my colleague said, mindset. So what do you do personally to help and improve? I say that you should have a plan, develop savings habits. Don't spend and save first, because the monies we generate is never enough, right? We look at our lifestyle. Some of us are living beyond our income. Then we'll be crying there is no money in the system. They invest diversely and get professional advice. It's easy to get. Each one of us here, I believe, has an account. You have the right, you have an account, you have a relationship. Get to the bank and ask them for professional advice and know how best you can grow yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Rindolph. Thank you, CEO, Madam Ramat, Mr. Finance Minister. Thank you so much for coming. So the marriage journey actually begins after the wedding. It means that the real advocacy and volunteerism on financial education and literacy begins after you leave this room. Thank you to our panelists. All right, so we are moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on. And next is a very crucial one. We need that so much because we have the big man himself here. And we want to take a keynote speech from him. Rethinking personal financial planning in uncertain times and for sustainable growth. Rethinking personal financial planning in uncertain times and for sustainable growth. And to do us honest when it comes to this one is the CEO of the Ghana Association of Banks, Mr. John Ewuah. Let's welcome him with a clap. Oh, is that all you can do? Because if this man tomorrow goes and switches off the banks, we are finished.
Good morning. I have to use this. Hello? I believe a lot of the work I have to do here has already been done. So with your permission, I would like to step down. Okay, anyway. Yeah, but just a little observation. The old adage, old people are very wise people. They say time is money. And if time is money, and we are talking about financial literacy, then we have to also be mindful about time because it's a finance resource. So let's note that. Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Really, it is an honor for me as the one in charge of the Ghana Association of Banks to preside over today's event and to give the keynote address. At the launch of the Financial Literacy Month campaign 2023, by the Center for Financial Literacy Education, Africa. As we gather here today to discuss the topical issue of personal financial planning, I can't help but wonder, are we prepared for the uncertain times that lie ahead? Are we equipped to handle the challenges of today and tomorrow while ensuring sustainable growth and prosperity? The truth is, in a world that is constantly evolving and changing, our financial strategies must also adapt and evolve. We need to rethink the way we approach personal financial planning to ensure we are not only prepared for the uncertainties and the unexpected, but also able to achieve our long-term goals and aspirations. So, let us take a moment to reflect on our current financial situation and ask the questions. Are we truly ready for the future? If not, what steps can we take today to build a more resilient and sustainable financial future for ourselves, our loved ones, and for the society at large? Together, let us explore the answers to these questions and more as we delve into the world of personal financial planning in uncertain times and for sustainable growth. I would like to extend my warmest congratulations to you, Peter, and your team for putting this program together every year. And as I've come to know a lot from you, you work on financial literacy all year round. Congratulations, my friend. It is heartening to see your organization deepen financial literacy and awareness among the public through this initiative. And I am confident that this initiative will go a long way in empowering individuals and communities to make informed financial decisions. The theme for this year's campaign, Rethinking Personal Financial Planning in Uncertain Times and for Sustainable Growth, could not have come at a more appropriate time. As we look back to the challenges of the past 2 years, we can attest to the fact that uncertainty is about the only certain occurrence in a lifetime. As in particular, we have all experienced the uncertainties and the adverse financial effects occasioned by the portentous COVID-19 pandemic, geopolitical tensions, and economic uncertainties and volatilities. The world has been forced to rethink its ways of doing things, and the same applies to personal financial planning. Individuals are impelled to rethink and reconsider existing strategies for achieving financial goals, given the uncertain and ever-changing economic environment we live in today. These variabilities in events and times have highlighted the importance of having solid financial plan in place to help weather the socioeconomic storms and achieve long-term financial goals. It is imperative to move beyond the traditional methods of financial planning towards embracing innovative and unconventional ways of managing our finances. One of the essential steps to take in this regard is to focus on building a sustainable financial future. Sustainable financial planning requires strong understanding of the current financial situation, setting achievable goals, and creating strategic and measurable plans towards achieving them while considering factors such as inflation, fluctuating market sentiments, and unpredictability of the future. One of the best ways to achieve this is through financial literacy, which remains the cornerstone of financial planning. Financial literacy refers to the knowledge and skills required to make informed decisions about financial matters such as budgeting, saving, investing, debt management, etc., etc. Indeed, financial literacy remains a relevant tool to all and sundry. It plays a critical role in our individual's life to ensure effective financial management. We must therefore invest in financial literacy for our communities, for our families, and for ourselves. Greater financial literacy means people have the power to manage their financial affairs, meet their financial goals, and plan properly for the future. It is no exaggeration to state that higher financially literate population leads to more resilient financial system. Of course, individuals of higher levels of financial literacy make better financial decisions. We need to educate ourselves on basic financial concepts such as budgeting, saving, and investing. And the panel talked about a host of other avenues for using your finances. It is equally important to understand the financial products and services available to us so we can know how best to use them to our advantage. The best form of consumer protection is consumer education. That is, consumers are effectively equipped and adequately protected when they have access to valuable information to facilitate informed decision-making on personal finances. Financial literacy creates more resilient financial system. That is, consumers have the tendency to avoid financial products of higher risk if they are not adequately compensated for the risk associated with those products. Our economy has witnessed tremendous evolution in the areas of savings, preparation towards retirement, property insurance, and individual insurance, amongst others. The economic evolution increasingly impels individuals to make complex financial decisions, necessitating some basic knowledge to support informed judgment. Improved financial literacy offers the prospect of better household savings performance and retirement incomes, lower risk to household wealth, and smaller levels of problem and distressed debt architecture. Building the financial literacy of Ghanaians, especially the young ones, is critical to achieving improvements in financial literacy for every generation, while measures intended to improve financial literacy of Ghanaians should be, as we put it, a long-term initiative. It requires sustained action by not just governments and banks, but also non-governmental organizations and the private sector alike, and a personal resolve to ensure all Ghanaians are reached. And here, again, I commend Peter for what you said. You want to reach all Ghanaians by 2030, and we'll support you to do that. The core principle undermining national financial literacy strategy should be shared responsibility. Working together across sectors allows shareholders or stakeholders to best embed and reinforce this core financial literacy concept. Collaborative action brings together valuable mix of resources, expertise, experience, and insights towards the development of a range of measures and products to help improve financial literacy. At this point, I commend CFLEA Africa for bringing together a multidisciplinary team of subject matter experts to collaborate on addressing complex issues and finding innovative solutions to the theme for this conference. It is imperative to ensure all individuals and small businesses possess necessary knowledge, skills, capabilities, capacities to manage their affairs and access finance when needed. It is against this backdrop that measures aimed at ensuring strategic improvement in financial literacy remain central to any country that aspires to maintain strong and productive economy. The Ghana Association of Banks recognizes the importance of financial literacy and has over the years been working towards its effective promotion in the financial sector and within the broader Ghanaian economy. The association remains committed and will continue to work with various stakeholders to ensure Ghanaians have access to financial education and are empowered to make informed financial decisions. Another critical aspect of sustainable financial planning is the need to embrace technology. We are in a digital age, and use of technology could ensure more efficiency through meaningful contribution towards the achievement of individual financial goals. Mobile banking, online trading platforms, we have several budgeting applications, just to name a few of how technology could potentially assist in effective management of individuals' finances and set the tone for financial inclusion. It is worth emphasizing personal financial planning is not restricted to savings, but extended to include the process of identifying, setting, and achieving financial goals while considering the uncertainties of the future. By embracing financial literacy and technology, individuals create for themselves the enabling environment towards sustainable financial future that allow them to achieve stated goals and live desirable and decent lives. Regardless of the financial situation or background, individuals' strict adherence to the fundamental principles of personal financial planning remains inevitable. These include setting clear financial goals, creating budgets, savings for emergencies, and investing for the future. However, in uncertain times, it is especially important to think carefully about how one could adapt financial plans to suit changing realities in the immediate environment. One important aspect of rethinking personal financial planning in uncertain times is focusing attention on resilience. The term resilience relates to the ability to bounce back from setbacks and strategically adapt to changing circumstances. In practical terms, the concept might mean building an emergency fund that could help weather unexpected expenses, loss of income, or diversification of investment portfolio towards risk reduction. Further, it is essential to consider sustainability during periods of uncertainty in personal financial planning. That is, it remains imperative to create a financial plan that could be sustained over extended period, even in the face of volatility and uncertainty. The explanation or implication is during periods of uncertainty, setting realistic financial goals, avoiding excessive debt, and the decision to invest in assets with considerable chance of appreciating over time become inevitable. Of course, as they say, no one size fits all solution pertains to personal financial planning. It is imperative for individuals to assess their financial situation, needs, and goals, and develop suitable and workable plans that suit your personal financial circumstance. However, by focusing on resilience and sustainability, individuals become well positioned to build financial plans that are better equipped to handle the world's uncertainties. Upholding the tenets of resilience and sustainability and seeking the advice of financial experts during periods of uncertainty could prove useful to the creation of financial plans that would drive individuals towards realization of their goals while calming the potential storms of life. As we draw closer to the Financial Literacy Month, I believe it starts tomorrow, recommitment to learning about personal financial management and taking proactive measures towards achieving financial independence become imminent. This calls for efficient financial management, wise financial decisions, and prudent financial habits to assure personal financial health, protection while securing our future. During these challenging economic and financial periods, one of the most important things individuals could do is to prioritize spending and live within their means. And this has been touched on by the panel as well. Practical illustration of the foregoing assertion implies the creation of budget and sticking to its provisions or content, avoiding unnecessary expenditure, and prioritizing essential expenses such as food, housing, education, transportation, and healthcare. Massive investment in financial literacy is needed to ensure individuals are equipped with the knowledge and skills necessary to make informed financial decisions. Financial literacy could facilitate individuals' understanding of the inherent risks and benefits associated with different financial products, such as savings accounts, investments, insurance, and therefore make better decisions that would improve their financial well-being while taking advantage of the available financial tools and services, including online financial management tools, mobile banking applications, investment platforms, among a host of others. To the CFLE Africa team, your dedication and commitment towards raising awareness about financial literacy and empowering individuals with the necessary skills and knowledge to make informed financial decisions are truly commendable. Through treasured efforts, you have provided invaluable resources and educational opportunities to individuals who may have previously lacked access to such information. Your quest to promote financial literacy is analogous with helping to create more financially responsible and stable communities in Ghana. Your dedication to this cause is a testament to your commitment towards a positive impact on the lives of others. I commend you for your hard work and look forward to seeing the continued success of your efforts in promoting financial literacy now and into the future. Congratulations once again for a job well done. In closing, let me leave you with this thought-provoking question. Are you willing to make or take the necessary steps towards rethinking your financial planning in uncertain times and pave the way for sustainable growth? Remember, the decisions you make today would shape your financial future, affirming the need to think, replan, and act towards a more prosperous tomorrow. I will end with this beautiful quote from the U.S. President's Advisory Council President on Financial Literacy. And I quote, "Financial illiteracy is not an issue unique to any one population. It affects everyone. Men, women, the young, the old, across all racial and socio-economic lines. No longer can we stand by and ignore this problem. The economic future of Ghana, and here emphasis is mine, depends on it." Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all the best for this event as we host the next panel discussion. Thank you, and God bless you.
You know you can do better than that. Wow. So rich. It has everything in it. Very extensive. That was a very powerful one. I'm tempted to say clap once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we are eternally grateful to our media partners. Thank you so much for being here. AAU TV, streaming us live. Pent TV, TV3, and Onua TV from Media General. We have Joy Business, GH1 Television, Asalink Media, Home Base TV, Business and Financial Times, and many, many others. In the next 5 minutes, I would want to invite a very special person to just give us a brief on this movement, and then we'll zoom into our next panel discussion. Nana Sebwedi, are you here? Let's welcome him.
Thank you very much. 5 minutes and I'll be out of here so we can continue with the program. I like the fact that we're using the word movement. For me, if we're going to change lifestyles and we're going to change our situation, we need the approach of a movement and a crusade. Okay. And my goal here today is to at least persuade all of us as stakeholders and as individuals to join this movement, join this crusade, rally around the flag, like we often say, so we can achieve this together. Okay? Peter has said a lot, and I'm sure some of us have heard it. I mean, the movement hasn't been around for long, but we've achieved a lot over this period. To have reached 2 million people is no mean feat. Okay? But we have big ambitions as well. 2 of them he mentioned. I'm going to add 2 others and then try and explain them. We want to reach 10 million people by 2025. It's taking us 2 to 3 years to reach 2 million people. We need an exponential growth to reach the 10 million people. And that means we need all of us. And let me say this. When we say reach, it's not just one contact. It has to be a sustained approach. There are 2 words I often use in my work as a communications and marketing person. It's always on and everywhere. Okay? If we're going to create a community, create a society where people are financially literate, we need more than just one session like this. Okay, it has to be sustained. We need more platforms, and we need to have more conversations. And that's why I'm happy about some of the things that John said, including his dovetail into the role of digital in doing all of this. Okay, so we need that. Number 2, as a movement, we need a stronger online presence. Because the reality is that we can't reach everyone. But through online, we can reach everyone. Because when people hear things, the first thing they do is they whip out their phones and they start Googling and researching about it. In other markets, if you young students here, young people here, if you want to start saving towards building or buying your own home, for example, there's content out there you can find online. In our society, there's not a lot of that. There's no local content like that. So we need to increase our online presence. For example, when sorry, I can't remember your name. But when some of the pensioners were picketing or whatever they were doing at the, and some of the things that they were saying was simply because they were not well informed enough. And also some of them, we all have always believed that government bonds are the most secure, aren't they? Okay, so we need to get to a point where people don't need to have physical, we don't need to visit them to educate them, but they can find the information, get themselves educated everywhere, including some of the things that have been said, amazing that have been said on the panel today. How are we amplifying these? For example, how many of you have tweeted this morning? I know there are a lot of young people. How many of you have tweeted about this? But there are a lot of nuggets that were dropped here. I was tweeting about some of the things Robert and the other panelists were saying, including what John has been saying. If we don't amplify it, not enough people will hear it. And that's why, as a movement, one of our other objectives is to increase our online presence. Are we okay? So that by doing that, we'll be able to reach more people voluntarily. And then also want to build a community of financially literate people. This is why it's important. Within a community, I define as a place where people find value, they want to belong, and they want to invite their friends to come and join them. Like we invite our friends to join us in a church when we find a good church. So we want to create an environment where when you hear some good news about financial literacy, you want to invite everybody else to join you and share the knowledge together. So these are 3 goals that we have. Why partner with us? I know stakeholders, whether as banks or insurance companies or whatever, you have it as part of your targets. But let's face it, it's not your number 1 target. Sir, MD, is that correct? It's not your number 1 target. In fact, for a lot of the people, they are not measured by that. And so the approach is not as concerted, not as forceful as is expected. But like I said, if we're going to achieve this, we need the efforts and the approach of a movement and a crusade. That's why we need this movement. So in partnering with a movement, you are tapping into the force that you cannot achieve on your own. Does that make sense, please? It's very, very important. Plus, it's also, I often say this, I do a lot for clients, I often say this. One is independent, and there's no, people don't feel there's a catch in it. They are more likely to buy into it. If you, the bank or insurance company, go out to educate somebody, once they know it's you, the bank is coming, they'll say, is he attempting to sell me a product? And so the tendency for them to believe and also buy into what you're saying is, but like I often say, for all of us, a more informed society, a more financially literate society means that we have better informed customers and we have better customers. So somebody said that we give loans. One of the challenges we have is that we give loans to people, but we don't teach them how to apply the loans effectively so they can be able to. That's why we have a lot of like bad debt and stuff. So tap into this to do that. Number 2, as a movement, because we're also independent, it means when we're educating people, where there are products or there are services we do, or we create platforms for you, like some of you have your banners here. So create a platform for you to tell your story to our audience, the wide, huge audience that we have. And that's very, very important. And number 3, also the exposure and the direct link that will give you to be able to access our audience, to be able to, when necessary, target them and market your products to them. So I'm giving you 3 reasons why you should support this movement. Okay, how do you do that? Simple. Just talk to us. Let's know your goals for the year. How many people let me ask, what's your financial literacy target for the year? As institutions, we need to have these. How many people do we want to educate? What channels are we using? Talk to us about that. Let's plan with you to do this. And I'm sure together we'll be able to achieve these goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Powerful movement. You have to light up the match. Let the flame continue to rise up and burn until the last pharaoh is kicked out of the office in Cairo. Thank you so much for that. We are grateful. So quickly, we are moving or zooming into the next panel discussion, and we are blessed once again. So we want to look at safeguarding your financial freedom journey, leveraging financial products and services. So the woman or the powerful voice behind the investor education at Access Pensions is one of our panelists, Madam Mimi Anani Apia. We also have the head of client experience at Sims, formerly Stanley, Madam Miriam Maku Emisa. Wow, you see the women, gender, powerful. We have the head of financial planning and international products desk at EcoBank, Madam Gloria Akuto. I mean, whoever planned this was by us. Whoa. The Chief Commercial Officer, Prudential Life Insurance Ghana, Madam Dorothy Chidi. Thank you so much. The good news is that this time I have the opportunity to also sit and enjoy, because I'll hand them over to a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School Finance Department, who is also the coordinator of the Financial Awareness Association, Dr. Benjamin Amwa. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, MC. You are all welcome to today's official launch of the 2023 April Financial Literacy Month Awareness Campaign. It is indeed a privilege to be called upon to moderate this wonderful panel discussion. In the first one, we had only one female, right? If you were here. And then the organizers have been tactical and strategic enough to give us a balanced pool in this second interaction that we are going to have. Thank you very much. And we believe strongly that before we leave here, you'll be educated, you'll be empowered, you'll be motivated to use the financial services sector to create wealth and to use that to impact your life and the world around you. Thank you very much for joining us. I will ask the microphones for the Thank you very much. So I won't take much of your time. I will quickly start so that we can go through the discussion. Okay, so we'll start from my far right, right? Yeah, my far right. And, if you don't mind, can you introduce yourself to us and what you do? Your name I've mentioned, but I want to know you and also especially the role you play in your organization.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. My name is Dorothy Chidi. I work with Prudential Life Insurance now in the capacity of Chief Commercial Officer. What that means is I work with a team that works with corporate institutions. We deliver insurance solutions that corporates can use, as well as bank assurance partners can use. But I would like to add that I also I'm a sponsor for a CSR activity which focuses on financial literacy. So for us in Prudential, we take financial literacy very seriously. This is just one of the ways we focus on financial literacy. Our flagship focus tool is what we call the Cha-Ching, and that focuses on getting young people to understand how money behaves, from how to earn, how to save, how to donate, the whole money cycle. And we have tools online. If you Google Cha-Ching, CHACHING, you'll find very interesting cartoon-based videos that you can engage your young learners up to primary class 6 with to catch them young before they get too old.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
My name is Mimi Ananiapia. I lead the Advisory and Education Department of Axis Pension Trust.
Thank you.
My name is Miriam Maku Emisa, and I work with the client experience team, which looks at dealing with after sales. After you have bought the investment product, what next? So all the issues that come up and enquiries and feedback. So that's what I do with Stanbic Investment Management Services. Thank you.
Then our last panelist.
So my name is Gloria Kuto, and I lead the financial planning and international product decks for EcoBank Group Wealth and Asset Management. So what I do is we set tools and structures to ensure that our clients are able to plan for their finances. They're able to have wealth protection products in collaboration with other institutions, and eventually they are able to transfer this wealth to the next generation. And in addition to that, we also have products that are offshore that will help our clients diversify their investments across asset classes and also across currencies and geographical locations. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And you can give them a hand of applause. Thank you, ladies, for making time to join us this morning and this afternoon. We are indeed privileged to have you here. Again, it is not by sheer coincidence. There's a reason behind the arrangement of the panel that we have this afternoon. Evidence and available data suggest that, especially in Ghana, we are aging. In other words, we are living longer now than we used to be in the past. Now, again, if you look at our structure as a country and our cultural background as a country, our economic architecture has been set up in such a way that the male species or the male gender is the one that is naturally economically empowered. But then if you are talking about a household, a complete household, you need a man and you need a woman. Now, data suggests and shows clearly that men are dying earlier and faster than women. This then exposes the women and the children to a greater financial freedom risk. And so if you want to build our society, if we want to help impact our society, we need to rethink how we position the female gender when it comes to economic empowerment. So that in the next few years, should the trend continue on, when the male species depart, or the male in the house will depart, the female will be empowered enough to continue managing the financial resources of the household. So for a topic like this that talks about how we can use financial products and services on our path to financial freedom, we cannot have any set of panelists to discuss this topic more than the women, because they will give us the female aspect of it, and they will help us to know what exactly we are doing wrong that we have to correct, so that should we depart, we will depart the world in such a way that we will leave our asset in safe hands as they take care of it for us. Thank you very much. Okay, so we know what has happened to us, and especially in this country, Ghana, we have gone through some turbulence by way of our financial services space. If you have observed the space, we've gone through difficult financial times. I'll walk you down memory lane. This is what has happened. For the past 10 years, we started with DKM, where individuals lost money. DKM was a licensed financial institutions microfinance by Bank of Ghana. It didn't end there. Within that sense, the Bank of Ghana had to clear the system by revoking the license of more than 140 microfinance institutions. Then we came to 2017, there was an official financial sector cleanup where individuals lost money, financial institutions lost their investment. It didn't stop with the banks. It was an entire financial services sector cleanup. Fund management companies had problems, and they also lost licenses. Insurance companies also had to recapitalize. Then we talked about Men's Gold. Men's Gold was not an official player in the industry, but in some way, somehow they succeeded in patching themselves within the industry and also got some funds to themselves, unofficially anyway. What am I trying to put across? I'm trying to paint the picture that we have gone through as a country within our financial services space till now, and why as a country and as individuals we need to understand where we have come from and why we must embrace financial education and financial literacy. The biggest of them all is what you are all going through now, and that is the debt restructuring program that we are going through. It is at a very macro level. This is not even individuals or financial institutions. This is an entire economy that is going through debt distress. Beneath all this happening is financial education, financial skills, and personal financial management. Mimi, what will you say to us from the pension point of view, what it means for us as a country from the macro level when it comes to what we have gone through for the past 10 years? Especially for the pensions industry, and how you are retooling yourself to move on from these difficult times.
Okay, so the pensions industry has undergone some reforms, and I think just about the time that these things started, we were now coming up, with the addition of the defined contribution schemes, which allow individuals to go beyond what they contribute to SNIT, which is more like an insurance, and put something also in a defined contribution scheme, which is more like an investment. And I believe the two play a good role in having a comfortable retirement. It's a bit sad, and I also was saddened by seeing pensioners picketing after all these years of hard work. But one thing this revealed to me was the lack of diversification, or putting all our eggs in one basket. Investing for your retirement is long term, and we know that when you are investing long term, it comes with certain risk. There are so many things that could happen in the next 20, 30 years as you plan for your retirement. So just putting it in one place is not good enough. Luckily for us in the industry, we have an investment guideline that seeks to diversify. However, we are still exposed to government securities significantly. So what this has brought out is the need for us to re-look at, our investment guideline, because even with what we had, a lot of trustees weren't taking advantage of the other opportunities available because, when it comes to investment, you can have a lot of pressure from clients for, high interest rates. I went here and I got this interest rate. And for some of these alternatives, they wouldn't be giving you this 35%, 34%. So it made a lot of people, focus more on the bonds, forgetting that these investments are long-term funds, and should anything happen, we'll all be found wanting. So I think the situation has revealed the loopholes in some of our investment strategies as pension trustees, and these things are being discussed. Also, it has pushed organizations that are in charge of curating products to start thinking about what other products can we bring out apart from our regular money market or fixed income mutual funds. So I think this has started a conversation, and I'm hoping that in the next few years we'll see more products that will help us as we plan for our retirement, have a more diversified portfolio that is not even limited to just Ghana, so that in the future, regardless of the uncertainties, we'll still retire comfortably.
Yeah, Mimi is telling us that the current happenings has invoked in the industry the need to rethink, need to innovate, and to make sure that they can have products that can prepare us for the future, most especially when the future is not so certain for us. Within the insurance space, what can we know from the insurance space?
So yes, we also were very heavily exposed. I think insurers generally would put the premium collected, policyholder fund away. So we also were exposed to investing in bonds and all that. What it has taught us is the need, like she said, to diversify. But that said, I think the average insurance company has some amount of diversification in place already. And by very nature, insurance is all about taking the risk that the individuals who buy policies or the companies that buy policies have. So by our very nature, we are risk takers, taking the risk of the individuals. So we recognize that, and investing is not the main thing, it's the risk underwriting, which is our main focus as an institution. So yes, lessons learned, but the commitment to the promise that we made in the insurance policy terms and conditions have remained. In other words, we have continued to keep our side of the bargain based on the commitments that we have made to clients. But it does challenge us to look closely at how we are backing those promises going into the future. But it hasn't taken away from the promises that we have made.
Okay, so you are still being assured that the insurance sector is very resilient, and we can fall on the insurance sector to help us manage risk. So please don't be worried. Buy your insurance product, invest in them, and you will definitely be indemnified when the risk crystallizes. Miriam, anything that we need to know from the asset and farm management space of our economy concerning what has happened to the country and how it trickled down on the individual and family level?
I think for us to, similar to what Dorothy and Mimi have said, is for us to rethink some things that we used to do. I think the first one would be education for us. And personally, I would say telling an investor to stay calm in the midst of uncertainties is like telling my 5-year-old to stay calm at the playground. It just won't happen. But unfortunately, it is really the time to stay calm when you are in an uncertain market. I think that we need to do more in terms of education. And that is when we realize a lot of gaps in the information that investors have when it comes to the solutions that we offer. So for a collective investment, for instance, you can have a client coming to you and telling you that I gave you my money, but I didn't tell you to invest in treasury bills or bonds. Meanwhile, the product itself states the kind of investments you can do. And this gives you the mandate to invest in the very product that they say, I didn't ask you to invest in. So there is a huge gap in there. I think aside the education, we need to rethink investment solutions that are not so much in line with government securities, for instance. And so what we have done as well is to look at the asset classes for pensions, which is the alternatives that gives pension funds the ability to invest in products like private equity. So we have funds in terms of private equity where people can actually put their investments and then affect the community they live in. So I remember he was talking about how sustainable it is. Our investments can be sustainable when we put it into investment that affects not just us, but the entire community as well. And when you invest in private equity, it gives you that opportunity. So it's also allowing us to rethink our investment solutions that are not so much in line with government securities, but other products or alternatives that clients can take advantage of. Thank you.
Thank you. We are seeing that clearly from the three speakers. Insurance, pensions, and asset management or wealth management companies are rethinking. They're thinking about what products or services can we provide on the market that can help individuals to negotiate their path on the successful journey of financial freedom. Is it Mrs. Akoto or Ms. Akoto? Yeah. Mrs. Akoto, from the financial planning perspective, what should we be doing now in this uncertain time that is presented to us?
Thank you. So indeed, the other speakers have spoken about diversification, which is key. It can't be overemphasized. But in addition to that, I think that one of the key things from the financial planning perspective is to ensure that we are getting our investors to invest in products that match their objectives. So we don't have people come in to invest in product just because they have heard other people talk about it or other people inform them that they did it and it was good. So one of the key things that we are doing is to ensure that we design a suitability tool that will assess the client, and then we also rate the product so that you ensure that whatever product you're advising the client specifically meets their objectives and also meets their risk tolerance level. So these are some of the key things that we are looking at to ensure that if you have a client that comes with a low risk, you don't go and match that client with a product that comes with a high risk. I always say that we don't have an investment that is good, we don't have an investment that is bad. It all depends on who is buying that investment. If it meets your objectives, if it meets your risk tolerance and your time horizon, then it will be good for you. So these are some of the things that I think that we need to rethink looking at all that has happened. Thank you.
So there are products, but know your investment objective, the goal you want to achieve for undertaking the investment. Then don't forget your risk tolerance level. That is a thermometer you need to check, because if you don't check that, you are going to be overtaken by events. And you'll be shocked at yourself that you cannot even have the heart it takes to manage a small percentage loss on your investment. Any of you can answer this. So what are some of the current products available on the market that we can speak in general terms that is available, that in the midst of this difficulty, as we await stability, an individual can just, go for? Because trust me, confidence in the financial services sector as we speak now is very low. Looking at where we have come from for the past 10 years. Most especially this time around, that even the failure is coming from the overall center of the economy. What should we do as investors? And what product, in general terms, not specific terms, because we have not assessed any individual's objective, the goal, the term, and even the risk. What are some of them that we can think of? Is to anyone among you who want to? Yeah.
Okay, so I believe in uncertain markets like these, it's a good idea to keep your portfolio diversified. And so when I say portfolio, don't think about an institution. Think about your portfolio as an individual. The funds that you have, the money you have is your portfolio. And you can decide to split it up and put it into diverse investment products. What I noticed from all that has happened is that, and I'll speak concerning bankers because that's where I'm aligned. We want to invest in what we know, and so we end up putting all our money into investment that we seem to be comfortable with. So a lot of us had all our monies in either a collective investment or a treasury bill, or have bought a bond and put that money into it. So when all of this happened, then it was like my entire portfolio was shaky. But if we go out and then do something different, then we have a bit here and a bit there. A lot of us don't like risk. I think the culture in Ghana is that most people are risk averse, but there's equity that people don't think of. But because of the risks attached to it, they might want to hold off. There are also some collective investments that invest not just in your treasury bill or bond, but invest in equity. So if you don't want to go directly, you can actually go indirectly through a collective investment. And there are some also that invest in real estate. Yes, there may not be many on the market, but there are some that you can still invest in. I also believe that it's a good idea to keep your investment short. When I say short, in an investment that you can easily have access to, so that when situations change, you can also be flexible enough to change. So I think I would pause here and then.
Dorothy, you may want to ask one.
Sure. So I made a point earlier that we are risk takers. So it's not just about uncertain times like this. we have held the view as insurers that as we live our life day in, day out, whether there's economic turbulence or not, we are exposed to some risk. And therefore, we ought to take insurance to take care of that or those risks. And there is insurance solution for almost every life's risk that is possible, be it for an individual or even for institutions, businesses, insurance solutions to cover your property, to cover your life, to cover even critical illness or permanent disablement that you may suffer. So without economic turbulence, we, in living our life, are exposed to the chance that these things would happen. And that's why we have had insurance. And when I mentioned earlier that risk takers, we continue to do what we have done in the past, I want to add that naturally, every insurance company would reinsure. Meaning that when we take your risk, we don't sit on it all, because we also recognize that when the risk happens and we have to cough out everything, it can be too much for us. So we would reinsure, and our reinsurers will also do what they call retrogression. So there's splitting of your risk in such a way that when you suffer the risk, we may be the ones paying you, but we are recouping some of that from our reinsurer, who is also recouping from another institution. So that's our job, risk-taking. So we continue to have solutions, products on the market that take care of this. We have classes of products we call the pure risk products.
Pure risk
products. Classic example is a funeral policy, which would pay you if there is death. Or those that have permanent disablement. So when the risk of permanent disablement happens, it would affect your being able to continue working. Picture this, in this environment, when you are working and earning, there's still challenge. How much more if you suffer permanent disablement and therefore you're unable to work? There are insurance solutions in the market that would pay you an amount of money so that you take care of that. There are those that are structured as income replacement solutions. There are insurance policies that cover critical illness. So if you suffered a stroke, if you suffered a heart attack, there's a tall list of critical illnesses that we are exposed to, whether the economy is stable or not. And there are insurance solutions out there that help you take care of that, or at least some amount of money will be paid when those events happen to you, if you do have that cover. So broadly, I'll say the pure risk products are one class that you can take advantage of, whether you're an individual or you're an institution who is trying to get a package for your staff, or just a group, a welfare group, like various things, like a welfare group that you care about each other, and so you want to take a plan that takes care of that. I want to highlight also that in addition to that, look out for those that have a certain inflation protection kind of benefit built in. It may not be totally eradicating the effects of inflation, but because our products are long-term in nature, we recognize that as the time runs, inflation can change. And so we structure the product and build in a benefit that we call inflation protector. It just goes, quote unquote, to hedge you, if not fully, at least partially, against the impact of inflation eroding the value of your money over that long term that you have the policy running. So those class of products are the ones I would recommend. Look out for things that offer you cashback. Look out for those that allow you to do partial withdrawals along the way. There are some like that. There are those that offer even hospitalization benefit, such that should you be hospitalized, not necessarily the medical bill, but a certain benefit, flat benefit is paid you whilst you are on admission, or whilst you have spent a number of days on admission. And of course, there's the health insurance that will take care of the medical bill if you take a medical. There are various solutions on the market, even if it's your property, your car, your house, that's electronic gadget you invested in. Insure it so that should you lose it due to theft, due to natural disasters, you don't have to now go back into your savings and take money to buy afresh, but rather you call on the insurance company to pay you, and then you can get your property back. So broadly, those are.
Okay, Mimi, from the pension point of view, products that are available to help us in these difficult times?
Okay. So I'm from the pension side, not a pensioner. So at every point in time, or part of financial literacy is to take advantage of every financial opportunity available to you. And in the pension space, we have tax savings opportunities. So if you're working, your employer should be doing the SNIT, that's 13.5, should do the tier 2. Those are mandatory, 5%. But beyond that, there's also the tier 3, Provident Fund and personal pension schemes that allow you to contribute up to 16.5% of your salary before paying taxes. That means that by taking advantage of the tier 3, you pay less taxes than your colleague who is not taking advantage of it. And I think this is a very good time to make sure that you are optimizing every income you earn. So there are tier 3 schemes. If you are an organization here and you're looking at doing something like that for your employee, you can look at that. There are also personal pension schemes. So if your employer is not doing that for you, you can also look at doing that for yourself. But as Miriam said, what this exposes, a lot of the time, people investing in products and not understanding what is behind those products. So I hope you choose Access, but regardless of any institution you choose, find out what that scheme is invested in. Is it something you understand? Does it work for you? Does it meet your objective? If your answer is yes, then you can go ahead to sign on it. But beyond these 3 schemes and taking advantage of these tax advantages, I also think that for your retirement, you should look at other opportunities. So we've mentioned real estate. We've mentioned if you're good at business and you want to invest, why not? Some of these things are things that people retire and go into. So if it's something that works for you, you can even invest indirectly into a business. So there are other opportunities that exist, but make sure that you've taken advantage of the free money on the table before looking at other opportunities.
Thank you. I think Mercy is Gloria. Yeah.
Okay, so to add to what has already been said is to see how we can also take the opportunities that technology brings to us to be able to spread our wings beyond the shores of where we find ourselves. You don't need a lot of money to be able to invest outside of the country. We have a lot of apps, a lot of applications, online trading platforms that you can use to buy equities elsewhere. You can use to buy exchange traded funds and other funds. So I would just urge you to take those opportunities that technology gives us to be able to diversify across geographical locations and currencies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have assurance now. Yes, we are facing difficult times, but then if we have heard from our panelists, they've all told us that there are products on the market that we can fall on. There are products available that can give us the needed protection as we create our financial future. You see, the modern financial or the modern economy has been created in such a way that you cannot survive without dealing with a financial institution. The modern economy architecture simply works in such a way that at a point in time or at a significant point in time in your life, you'll be dealing with the financial institutions. If not at all, your salary will be paid through a financial institution, a bank. So that itself will force you to transact with financial institution. So despite the fact that confidence is low, the system we are running still does not take us away from financial institutions. We need to understand them. We need to understand the product like they've all said, and then know how each of the products stands to benefit us. Once we understand and they fit into our overall investment objectives, then we can put our money into them, invest, and then hope that it will help us to achieve our financial freedom. Gloria, how do we plan for our personal financial future this time? Can you walk us through how we should plan?
Okay, so thank you. So in planning for our personal financial future, I think The other panelists spoke about the issue of the mindset, and I remember Mr. Jato spoke about a book he came across. And again, we want to emphasize the issue of the mindset because everything starts from the mind. So it is key that we prepare our mind towards wealth creation. And some of the ways in doing this is through reading materials on investments. Even being in sessions like this exposes us to a lot of knowledge, and then also speaking to professionals in the industry for us to understand exactly where we are putting our money. Secondly, it is key that we set goals. We set financial goals, and so that we don't just wake up, get money, and then move to an investment house and put the money in. And it is key that we ensure that these goals are not just set just as one. We categorize them into short-term goals, medium-term, and long-term goals because we have different needs. And it is also important that we all learned in school that when we are setting general goals, the goals should be SMART. That also works with our financial goals. We should ensure that these goals that we are setting are measurable, they are specific. All the SMART attributes that we assign to goal setting, we ensure that we have that in place. And then it is also key, the third point I want to talk about is for us to be able to plan our expenses. So budgeting is key. Again, technology has availed a number of budgeting tools online for us. We should be able to track our expenses so that we know exactly where every CD, every peso is going. And one of the principles that I use, and I know a number of people use, is what we call the 50-30-20 principle. So it is key for you to identify the difference between your needs and your wants. So what that principle basically talks about is that when you receive your money, at least 50% of it should be used towards your needs, 30% towards your wants, and then at least 20% towards your savings or investment. So it is very important for us to be able to set some of these things. And then I think we also spoke about impulse buying, ensuring that once we are budgeting, then it will help us to eliminate the issues of impulse buying, because then it means that we are going to adequately plan for whatever we do. And I keep saying that the whole purpose of a budget is not to restrict you, but the purpose is to allow you to plan for the things that you love doing. So if you want to take that vacation, yes, you can still take that vacation, but ensure that you plan towards it. If you want to buy that iPhone, yes, you can still purchase it, but just ensure that you plan towards it. And then finally, when it comes to investment, again, I'll speak about diversification. Let's ensure that we don't put all our eggs in one basket, and let's ensure that we speak to a professional financial planner. And I know that almost all the investment houses run advisory businesses. Speak to the right people, understand where you are putting your money before you do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for walking us through the steps in how we can plan for our future. Dorothy, what time should I purchase? And at what time in my life should I purchase life insurance? Or should I bother about life insurance?
I like the question. And I say the time is now. Maybe the right answer is it should have been earlier. And there's no better time than now if you haven't bought it yet.
Okay, before you go on, I'm a young guy. I'm in school. So why should I bother about life insurance?
Well, it's because the life risk we are all exposed to, you are exposed to that as well. Critical illnesses, paralysis. There's a tall list of critical illnesses that happen to even children. How much more someone in school, in a university, for instance. Aside that, maybe that's the time you actually need it more, because that's when you are not working and therefore not have enough money to take care of the emergencies in life. So if you are in school and your parents are not stable themselves, or you don't have support network that can take care of you should your parents pass, and therefore there's need for money to take care of final expenses, or need for money to take care of younger siblings that come after you, or should a parent suffer permanent disablement and you want to help that person, you want to consider life insurance. And I say the products are structured in such a way that you can take what your pocket can handle. So we generally in the market structure the products that you can take a small sum assured if that's what you can afford. And then as your state gets better, maybe when you start working and earning better, you then can upgrade that to a higher cover. If you are married now, then maybe you want to upgrade and include a spouse and perhaps parents-in-law in addition to your parents. So when is a good time? I say it's now. And yes, it works better if you are working and earning so that you can sustain the premium payments, because you'll be required to pay premium payments to sustain the policy. So I say to my young brothers and sisters that today you spend money, whether you are earning or not. Check and ask yourself, what are you spending the money on compared to that other risk you are exposed to that if you took insurance would protect you to some extent at least, if not fully. What are you spending your money on? Is there any savings you can make so that you put in a small cover? And as your earning capacity gets better, then you can increase that cover. That's what I would say. So at any point in time, I say the earlier you started, the better. But if you haven't started, the best time is now. And another reason why the best time is now is that for me, who is in life insurance, we price or we give you a premium to pay usually based on your age. And the younger you are, all things being equal, the less the risk of death. And therefore, less the premium we ask you to pay. And what is more, when you start a policy, you sort of lock in your premium at the age you started. Unless you've chosen things like the inflation index benefit, the inflation protector that I talked about, which would escalate your premiums over the years. And I recommend you always take that benefit, even though it may be optional. But for that, the premium you take at the time you are buying is locked in based on the age you are. So today, if I have a 45-year-old person and perhaps a 30 or a 20-year-old person wanting to take, say, a funeral policy for 50,000 cover, both of them are taking 50,000 cover. The 45-year-old person will surely pay more for 50,000 cover than that 30 or 25-year-old would pay for that same 50,000 cover. But like I was saying, you lock in the premium at the time you buy it. And so I say the earlier you go, the better. Otherwise, you would have to pay a lot more down the line, because once you are older, we expect that the risk of death is higher, and therefore we price higher for you at that point.
Yeah, in proper personal financial planning, you need to have insurance. You have been told that the right time to buy insurance is now. Most importantly, when you are young, because it tends to influence how much you pay by way of premium. Mimi, what about pensions? At what time should I think about contributing into a pension scheme?
So I would say that as soon as you get your first job.
So as soon as you get your first
yes,
job. Insurance is now. Pension is as soon as you get your first job.
Yes. Because every income you earn, your income earning capacity reduces. So make sure that you are also growing your financial capital so that once it reduces, the financial capital can take off from there.
Okay, hold on. Can you explain that? You say every income I earned implies that what? The total that I have to receive has reduced by 1.
Yes.
Because I've earned 1 today, it has reduced by 1. It's declining indirectly, right?
So we are all going to school so that we can increase our earning capacity or our human capital.
Yeah.
Every month you earn a salary,
exactly.
You've reduced 1 month from that. Maybe you have 300 salaries
exactly.
to earn over your lifetime. Every month you take your salary,
it's less
you
one.
Reduce that. So if all is going into your stomach, very soon you have nothing and nothing to live off. But every income you earn, we say there's a seed in it. So you set apart that seed so that your financial capital grows as your human capital diminishes. So that's what, as soon as you start working.
Yeah. So the timing is as soon as you start working. For wealth management and mutual funds, what is my timing? Miriam, what time should I consider invest in the mutual fund?
I think it's the same as Dorothy said. The time is now. There's a proverb that I like to use, that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the next best time is now. If you have missed the opportunity, you can start now. And with investments, you don't have to start getting a job. Like Dorothy said, if you're not working, you're still spending. And so there's something that is coming in. Consider that still as something that you can invest from, and try and put something aside. You can use Gloria's principle of the, is it 70, 30, 50, 30, 20. And if you, and for the younger you are, the fewer the expenses you have to make. Because when you go out of school, you realize that the expenses just go up, as if everybody expected you to get a job right after you finish school. But yes, the timing is now, because the expenses grow, and the earlier you start, the earlier you'll be able to grow your money over time.
Thank you very much, Gloria. So the planning. What time should the planning also start? What time? Yeah.
So thank you. So I think the planning is what even precedes all that we have discussed. So for you to think of investing in mutual fund, pensions, or doing insurance, the key thing is for you to start planning. And it is the planning that will take you to be able to allocate resources to each of these segments that we have discussed. So if you think of investments, think of planning. If you think of pension, think of planning. If you think of insurance, think of planning first before you start. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is what our panelists have told us. One, they give us the assurance that, yes, the economy may be going through difficult times, but the financial institutions are well prepared and they have solutions to help us navigate our path to financial freedom. Again, they've told us that when it comes to timing, there is no other best time or better time to plan than it is now. What time should you buy insurance product? It is now. What time should you think of pensions and to plan towards pensions? When you receive your first salary. What time is it, or what time will be the best time to go into a mutual fund investment? It is now. So if there is any time that you can start planning your financial future, the time is now. At this juncture, I will open the floor up for questions that you have, and I believe that our panelists are prepared to respond to your question. We just have 5 minutes to do that. So please, if you have any question on what they've said or something bothering your mind, show your hand, and then we will come to you with our microphones. Thank you very much. Can I go on? Any question? Yep, there's one hand here. Yep, right.
Thank you very much. I am Matthew, an Nigeria student from UPSA. This question goes especially to the insurance and then the pensions people. With considering the current economic stress that we are going through, how are you able to lessen the burden on your clients in terms of premium payments and then other stuffs like that? Do you reduce your prices, or is there any benefit? Something like that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for that question. So what we do is to give you room to be able to amend your policy downwards so that the premium is more affordable if you are at a point where you think the premium is no longer affordable. But if you want to maintain the same level of benefits, then yes, the same level of premium is what we expect that you pay. Some products, not all, but some products have what we call the waiver of premium benefits built in. So if the solution you have taken has a waiver of premium benefit, depending on the terms and conditions of that product, I've seen waiver of premium benefits that kick in when you have made a claim as the main life, there's been a claim made. One of the major claims have been made, and therefore then there's no premium payments required for the other people who are covered on the policy. That's one way. But I've also seen some of the savings type products where you can decide when you want to take that premium paying break. So for some reason, maybe you've lost the job and so you are unable to pay. My recommendation that you reduce your benefits to a more affordable premium is not what you want, because you cannot handle any at all. Then you can, should I say, execute or let the benefits that allows you to go on a premium paying break kick in. But please note, it's not on every product. You want to take a look at the product, see what benefits are in there, and how it allows you to play around being able to tone down premium payments or go off premium payment for a season, and then perhaps come back when you have now found a job or you are able to now pay the higher premium. Did we answer the question?
If we have another question from the audience.
One more.
Oh, you want to add? Okay.
So from our end, we pay the tier 2 and 3 a percentage of your salary. So once you are getting that salary, that one will deduct. However, the Provident Fund or the tier 3 is a bit flexible. So depending on your company rules, they can decide at times are hard. So we wouldn't make it compulsory for our staff. That is up to the company. But the personal pension, just like she said, will give you the room to take it up or down based on what you can handle. But the reality is that in tough times like we have seen, it means that you even need to put in more effort towards your retirement, because inflation has messed up whatever it is that you had been able to accumulate. So you even need to put in more effort. That's the reality. But as you said, there are situations where you may have to reduce or stop for a while. And for the personal pension, that is available. For tier 2 and tier 3, if you lose your job, no money will be coming in.
So the institutions are very flexible. They understand the difficulties we are going through, and they have built in the product mechanisms that will help the individual not to, and if you heard them, not to stop investing in the product, but just for you to manage your way around so they can keep the product because it is something good that will benefit you. Thank you. There's a hand at the back.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think any of the panel members can respond to this. I do hear most young people or young guys who are into sports betting call it investment. So you see a young man and he tells you, Charlie, may your investment be a sports betting. And as intellectual or with your depth of knowledge in investment, do you think sports betting can be attributed to investment, and is it a good thing that young men should, put their money in, because they call it investment and they get returns on it? My younger cousin 3 days ago invested 200 cedis. Today, 68,000 Ghana cedis within few minutes. So, how do you respond to this? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So let me start, right? Let me start then. The practitioners will help. Strictly, let's call it blank. It is not an investment. It is not and never, and it's gaming. The word is gaming, or what you call gambling. That is the word there. But you see, it's a nomenclature that they've changed to call it investment. What is investment? Investment is basically putting your money aside over a period for an objective that you set yourself to achieve, right? And within that investment, you are compensated for the time, the risk, and the inflation. And this investment you are doing must go through what we call a channel of production. It is that channel of production that generates the cash flows from which you'll be paid. So the funds that we deposit with the mutual funds, with the insurance companies, behind it, they are also investing some of them into proper, real investment, brick and mortar investment, proper investment. And the proceeds is what is used to pay your benefits or the promised rewards that you get. The question is, the gaming, where is that channel of production? Where is the funds going to turn around machines, plants, to give you that benefit? There's no production in there. It is a game of chance. So you are risking your money of value in an event whose outcome is uncertain. That is what we are doing. That is why it is very highly risky, and its ability to promise you return can never and never be assured. You understand me? So we need to understand that it is not an investment in the first place because there is no proper channel of wealth or production behind that. And this is how it works. What sort of, I'm going to the ethical realm, what sort of wealth creation channel, right, can create wealth for you at the expense of the loss of others? In a typical jackpot, all the money collected from all the players are assigned to only one person, the winner. So you are jubilating and your other players are crying. What sort of ethical wealth creation principle is that? Meanwhile, if you look at all the asset creation channel, wealth creation they've talked about, there is some level of ethical undertones in there. There is some level of wealth sharing within that part, where it is not our money being collected and being pumped on you alone as a winner. It is addictive. It is not a good channel for wealth creation and financial freedom. And it is very difficult from observation to see anybody who has lived a successful financial life from gambling. I'm yet to come across somebody like that you can bet. You want to say, this guy has made it and has impacted his generation from gambling. I don't know, maybe there's one somewhere you can you can tell me. Because it doesn't go through any proper wealth creation channel. I'm not by this saying that gaming commission, they are in charge of regulating that particular sector. I'm not saying that what they are doing is wrong, because it's also a way of, pulling funds from one sector of the economy to the other. If you are talking about ethical wealth creation, if you are talking about how addictive it is, you are talking about how destructive it is, because if you get addicted to it, look, you can steal somebody's laptop to go and sell just to go and play a game. And is that how we want to create wealth? That is not the answer, the approach to creating wealth. Again, there is empirical evidence that suggests that individuals who are heavily into this gaming are so much into substance abuse. No substance abuse. Cocaine, etc., etc. Yeah. That is the end. So, in the end, that is how they end up. That is not how we create wealth. And that is not what we are teaching through financial literacy and financial education. We are saying that be patient. We are saying that follow through your investment. We are saying that talk to the right professionals and let them help you to create wealth. There's more that we can talk about when it comes to, gaming, etc. But the key word is that it is not investment. Maybe my practitioners will add more to it. Practitioners, few one that we can move on so that we don't take my time. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so just a brief one to add. When it comes to wealth creation, it's a step, and that step is little by little. You need to start somewhere and be adding up and have a plan in place. I am here to see wealth that is sustainable, that is created overnight. So that is what I want to add, that if you are looking at wealth creation, it is not something that happens overnight, but you need to have a plan in place, and wealth creation happens over a period of time, and it is the key word there is little by little. Thank you.
Thanks. And the one thing I would like to add is to say that let's allow ourselves to be informed so that as terms are used, we understand them and are not led in other ways by the play on words that come our way. So it just heightens for me the need for us to do what we are doing now, and the need for us individuals to take it upon ourselves to read, to search the net on material around financial literacy so that we are well informed, and can read between the lines on what's on the market.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dorothy. Thank you, Mimi, Miriam. We are grateful. And then Gloria, we say thank you very much for your time. There's one thing that we need to know. If there's any time for you to buy an insurance product or policy, it is now. If you have to think about your planning and investment for pensions, it's your first word when you get your first salary. Of course, if you are self-employed, then just there and then you have to start contributing towards pension because your strength cannot be guaranteed. You can be involuntarily be retired when you go to an accident. Don't forget. And then, of course, we should not forget about the fact that when it comes to buying assets and wealth creation, there's no other time than now. Gloria told us financial planning starts even before any of these products should be purchased. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. We are grateful you made time to join us. I believe that the information and the knowledge here is something that you will pass on even as we celebrate April Financial Literacy Month 2023. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
God
Doc.
bless you.
Thank you. You can do better for them. The powerful female team. Thank you, Doc. Oh, do that for them as they take their seats. Wow. I think now we have broken that gender thing. It's gone for good. We have all enjoyed what our ladies did today. Thank you so much. Well, let me quickly, ladies and gentlemen, we are just drawing the curtain. Somebody will say that at long last we are here. Let me quickly acknowledge the Chartered Institute of Bankers for giving us these premises. We are so grateful to them. The Financial Awareness Foundation, the CFLE. We also have the FA Association at the University of Ghana Business School, Access Pensions, Prudential Life, KPMG, Pro Patra, Pali Global, Ghana Think Foundation, Rethink Investments, Blisbane Events, Asalink Media, UPSA Banking and Finance Association, University of Ghana Accra City Campus, SRC. We are very, very, very grateful to all of you. Of course, the Ghana Association of Banks. To our media partners, AAU TV, Pent TV, TV3, Onia TV from Media General, Joy Business, GH1, Asalink Media, Home Base Television, Business and Financial Times. Thank you so much for your partnership. Thank you so much for being here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to take the closing remarks. And I'll call on Mr. Daniel Ofori Dankwa to do that for us. Let's welcome him with a clap.
Thank you very, very much. Amazing resource persons, both for the first session and the second. And I love the second group, all female. And for your information, I studied the fingers. They all, solid. Let's give them another round of applause. So we targeted 1 o'clock. It's 15 or so, or 20 past 1. I think in Ghana terms, we should give ourselves a big round of applause. Oh, let me hear you. In Ghana terms. Hey, 20 minutes. Please, let's have a big round of applause. Okay. So just a few points that I took note. It's been wonderful. There's so many learning points that I just couldn't take off for closing remarks. So I'll just read out just a few. Number one, we should not only investment and financial education should not only be about today. Please, you can take note for that, for these ones, but should be every second, every minute, every hour, and every day. Now, financial education and planning execution, as we said, should become a culture, not only for us individually, but for the organization and for the country. And then we also said that we should all look to do worst case scenario planning, even beyond just investing, based on what has happened in the world. As one person said, machines were put at one country's front. The following day, they entered. So we should look at COVID. It came suddenly. So we should look at doing worst case scenario planning. Then we also mentioned that organizations should not just be about corporate social responsibility. It should not just be about health, work for the employees, but organizations should also make sure that there's financial health planning and activities for their staff. Then we also said that we should not equate lotto. Hello. We said it. These are points that I put down. We should not equate lotto or sports bets or gaming to investments. In fact, whether it is Chelsea or Kotoko, it is not investment. And then we should also up all of us our ICT skills and make sure that we are up to scratch, because that is what is reigning in the world now. And it is very important for our financial education, ICT skills, particularly in uncertain times. And then I want to add that our young people here, please listen carefully to this one. Our young people here, volunteerism. Volunteerism is both a door and a window to personal life success. It's both a door and a window to getting jobs in a place where they say there is unemployment. So if you are here and you want to the improving financial awareness and financial literacy movement in Ghana, and you want to volunteer for CFLE Africa, then you would put down your names when we leave here. And in conclusion, I want us to all join me and shout. We've been sitting for too long. Let's do a little bit of shaking. Let's all say spiritual financial evangelism. I didn't say spiritual financial evangelism. I'm saying that let us all, otherwise let us stand up. Okay. Let us shake ourselves and say spiritual financial evangelism. Okay, so let me break it down and then we close. So the spiritual, listen carefully. The spiritual has to do with ethics, honesty, attitudes, the God factor, passion, soft skills is all under spiritual. Then financial has to do with financial education, financial awareness. It has to do with financial education at the individual level, at the peer. When you go back to UPSA, University of Ghana, and wherever you are coming from, peer, spread at your peer level. It has to do organizational, and it has to do at the national level. I think the national level, if we get it at the national level, there will no longer be headcuts in the next 1,000 years. And then, when we talk about evangelists, all of us here gathered, listen carefully to the evangelist one. It involves advocacy. Let's go out wherever we are. Advocacy to your children. Advocacy to your brothers and sisters. Advocacy to your peers. It involves teaching, advising, mentoring, coaching. It's all part of it. And so, once again, let's all say spiritual financial evangelism. that note, we say thank you to the Chartered Institute of Bankers and all our sponsors. God bless you. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you. Oh, very good, very good, very good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A good man leaves inheritance for his children's children. Proverbs chapter 22. I'm sure this one has nothing to do with gambling because we cannot trace the correct route when it comes to finances. Ladies and gentlemen, Sika Mpe Dede is the title of the book in my hand. Make sure you pick a copy before you leave here. Sika Mpe Dede was co-authored by our brother Peter and then Samuel Ajiman Prempeh. Sika Mpe Dede. Basic financial rules everyone should know. Basic financial rules everyone should know. Don't be in a hurry to run away. We have some refreshment for you. We'll take some pictures, some group pictures. All our dignitaries will come up to take pictures. Make sure you network. Make sure you network and then you take some contacts before you leave here. For our closing prayer, we'll have the director for Pali Global, Sir Frank Parkumi. Sir Frank, he's not around. Oh, okay. All right. So, shall we be on our feet as we close our eyes? Shall we be on our feet as we close our eyes? Make sure you don't leave here without taking a group picture. Make sure you network and then you take some refreshment. Father, we are grateful unto you for this opportunity. We thank you for beginning with us and bringing us this far. We pray that as we live here, we are not leaving your presence. Continue to be with us. All those who came around, oh God, carry everyone back safely to their destinations. As we become advocates, as we become those who advertise, as we become those who push forward financial education and financial literacy, we pray that you empower us and you will take us to the promised land. We thank you for this and many others. In Jesus' name. Amen. Oh, amen. I wish you all the best. God bless you all. Yes, please, the pictures. Make sure you come up here. We'll take the pictures. Our dignitaries want to have you up here. Please, participants, pictures. We are taking a group picture with all of you.